Here's Goodnight Olive making her move to take the lead by a head around the far turn. Race Kane has nearly 10 lengths to make up, so does Scooby Quando, verifying the leader. Top of the stretch, Capit Trice is coming onto the outside. Up to the mark is running late behind Master of the Seas. Set piece down the center of the course. Master of the Seas alongside Annapolis. Here's Elusive Princess coming after Maj, and Mission of Joy tries to find room between that pair. Maj has the lead. Mission of Joy second, Elusive Princess third. The champ in front. Goodnight Olive chased all the way. Capit Trice! Capit Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast for Friday, October the 11th. Hope you're having a great Thursday, a good day at the track, a good evening to you all around, no matter where you're tuning us in. If you're catching us on the archives on Friday, TGIF, everybody, let's have ourselves a good day. First post, 1 o'clock on Friday at Keeneland for a 10-race program that features the Sycamore Stakes. One of 3 big turf stakes this weekend at Keeneland. We'll have the Sycamore coming up on Friday. Saturday's the big one, the Grade 1 Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. And then on Sunday, Turf Sprint, fillies and mares going at it in stakes action there on Sunday as well. So we have the Franklin Stakes for you to round out the weekend. A lot of good turf racing to come, and we're going to be good on the turf the way it looks for the foreseeable future. This weather has been unbelievable in Lexington so far. This meet forecast for Friday, sunny skies, fast track, firm turf course, temps in the mid-70s again. Looking at the 7-day forecast, there's no rain in the forecast over the next 7 days to this point. And you say that's blasphemy, but we got through the last 7 days with no rain in Lexington. So let's see if we can continue to have a good weather run. Again, Sycamore Stakes today will be race number 9. We'll get yourselves a snapshot of the card and look at how it all shakes out over a 10-race program. And then we'll also get a look from Tom Leach a little bit later tonight, where he's got some stakes interviews for us. We're going to hear from Brian Lynch. Trainer has a horse in the Sycamore Stakes that you'll want to stick around for that. That will come up again in race number 9. Super High Five carryover, a little over $5,000 in the 10th and final race. So that gets us set up for what we'll talk about here for Friday. As for the Thursday racing action, 3 winners here on top for us. We had a nice winner early in the card, paying almost $14. Autumn Rhythm in race number 2, another offspring of Vacoma. Just an unbelievable run for that first crop sire with this 2-year-olds. Nice winner there in race number 2 for us. 3 winners overall. We had about $21 in return, so we showed a little bit of a profit. Terrible day gambling yesterday, terrible day handicapping yesterday, but things got a little bit better today, so we got some momentum into the weekend. Hopefully we can continue that run. It was a more playable card today. Yesterday, of the 8 races on the card Wednesday, 7 of the 8 winners were 5-2 or less, and then one horse was 35-1, 33-1, something like that. A big bomber in the other race. I'm just not going to do well when those are the kind of payoffs that we're seeing. I need to live in that 5-1 to 6-1 to 8-1 range in order to be a successful horse player. We got a nice 5-1 winner today, paid almost the 6-1. You look at the winners today on the card, there was a 9-2, 2 5-1s, an 8-1, and a 10-1. So nothing crazy over the top. Favorites won the other 4 races. So favorites won 4 for 10 today. They were 5, I believe, the previous day. I think we had 5 of 8 favorites win on Wednesday. So this was just a little more attractive gambling card on Thursday, the way that the results played out. We did have a real heavy winner in World Record, a horse who won the allowance feature in race number 9 today, as expected, as a 1-5 favorite, paid 2-something there. But, he was dropping out of the graded stakes ranks, caught a good allowance field, scratched out of the stakes on Sunday to run in this spot. So he delivered as expected. Hard fought win. He didn't win by the margin you might expect a horse who's only paying $2 and change to win. But, he was like the only real tap-in putt kind of horse on the card, I think. And he delivered today with a good performance. So also on the program today, for the second time this meet, we saw 3 jockeys just dominate the card. On opening week, we had a situation where 3 different riders had a riding triple in the same program. All the top guys in the standings, as you might expect. Well, today was very similar. Luis Saez got off to a start, sweeping the early daily double, races 1 and 2. Then he passed the baton to Tyler Gaffalione, who won 3 in a row in the middle card. And at the end of the card, the final 3 races in the program went to Flavien Prat. So Luis Saez, Tyler Gaffalione, Flavien Prat, 3 top jockeys in the colony. got 8 of the wins today. Again, we saw that last week where 3 jocks took 9 wins on a single program. Other winners on the program today, Jose Ortiz and John Velasquez. So the smaller time riders, they were not invited to the party today. It was all the big time Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famer types winning the programs on the program today. Brendan Walsh, trainer, picked up a training double today. 2 wins for Brendan Walsh. His horses are doing well. They run on anything, dirt or turf. Of course, he generally has more turf horses than he does dirt horses, but they're performing on just about any surface right now. And of course, Brendan's got the big horse potentially into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, so we will see how his cast rolls on throughout the rest of this meet. But he's got depth now, and where Brendan Walsh may not have had as many horses in some previous years, he's got pretty good depth. Probably not the depth to win a training title up against a Brad Cox or a Wesley Ward with the numbers they're going to run at the meet, but a very good meet is in the works right now. For trainer Brendan Walsh. He had a good day today. Okay, so let's get into the Friday card for October 11th. We will not only give you a snapshot of the program and my key plays on the day, but we'll go through each and every race. If you're new to the podcast, thanks for that. If you're watching on X or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to put comments in the comment sections there. Helps us grow the audience for this. So help us out, and we'll continue to try to give you good information on each and every race day here at Keeneland. All right, let's talk about the start of this card. It begins in race number 1 with the pick 5, the early pick 5 on the first 5. Late pick 5, of course, will be on the last 5. So in a 10-race card, there is no overlap. Similar card configuration to what we saw on Thursday. Just an 8-race card on Wednesday had a lot of those overlapping multi-race wagers. The multi-race wagers kind of stay off of each other here. Keeneland Turf pick 3 will be on races 5, 7, and 9. One of my key plays right off the bat in that Keeneland Turf pick 3. I think we can single in race number 5. So Keeneland Turf pick 3 is an interesting bet for me today. There have been some days at the meet where I had good opinions on that and haven't had the luck. There have been other days where I didn't have very good opinions. I kind of like the Keeneland Turf pick 3 on this Friday card, so we'll give that a long look and talk about that in race number 5. Sycamore Stakes got its spot in the next to last race on the card, traditional spot for the feature. And again, the 10th and final race, the Toyota Super High 5 carryover, $5,112 if you can take down the first 5 finishers in the final race on the card. That's not a jackpot wager, so that's just a straight up Super High 5 in race number 10. Let's go to the opener now. Race number 1 is a maiden claimer, 7 furlongs, 2-year-old maiden claimers in this one, and we'll go to the Keeneland Handicapper Selectors box. You can get this consensus grid at the Keeneland website under the racing tab, so check out your handicapping tabs there. I'm going with Bisa, same horse on top for Gabby Gaudet in here. We're both on the 7. There are 3 different horses picked on top here, though, in the or 4 different horses picked on top amongst the 5 public handicappers. You've got the 4, the 5, the 7, and the 8, all getting a little bit of love in just a 9-horse field. I'm on Bisa, though. This is a horse who's had some chances, right? One of the more experienced horses in the field with 6 starts. Only the one Cuckoo's run more times with 7. 6 starts already for a 2-year-old filly by Run Happy, but she's run against some better horses, it seems, in her previous races. And then in her last start, she was in a longer race at a mile and a 16th. So you kind of get a little bit of the situation with Bisa where she's going the right distance and she's probably found the right company where she might be able to graduate and win this race. This is not a heavy-hitting race. This is a maiden, a 30, and you look down the trainers on this list, and you're not going to find a lot of trainers who are going to hit the top 10 in any given Keeneland meet. In fact, none of the trainers in this race are probably ever going to land in the top 10 for a Keeneland meet. So this race is up for grabs. Bisa, I think, maybe the most likely winner in here. 7-2 morning line favorite. Not a race I'm too wound up and excited about. You've got to pick them all as a public handicapper. But from a gambling standpoint, I won't really touch this race intra-race. But if you're playing the early pick 5, which start in this race, you've got to get through it. So how do we get through this race? That's kind of the way I look at it. This is not a race I'm excited to bet intra-race. But again, if I'm playing to pick 5 in the early part of the card and I've got a key play coming up in race number 2, can I find some horses I want to play in a daily double to race number 2? Can I find horses that I want to use in the pick 4 and pick 5? The 9 Magnetic Beach is a first-time starter, has a bullet workout at the Thoroughbred Center cross town in Lexington for trainer John Innes. He's not known to get his horses going. I kind of flirted with putting the 9 Magnetic Beach on top, but that trainer stat of 3% with 75 first-time starters. So, this is a horse I've got picked second, but maybe one that you wouldn't necessarily use if you're looking for a multi-race bet where you've got to get the horse on top. One Cuckoo's had the 7 tries, a couple third-place finishes back a ways at Colonial Downs, really has had chances and hasn't been too successful. There's just not a lot to love and embrace and hug in this race. So for me, I ended up with Bisa. Speaking of hugs, love hug the 4, top pick in here for Scott. This is a horse with a second-place finish at Ellis Park 2 starts back ago in July, but then kind of just went the wrong direction last time. Maybe faced a little bit better competition in those 2 maiden 50 optionals at Ellis. You could make an argument for the 4. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I'm just going to go with the 7 in this particular spot. I'm not going to get too wound up here. You're either kind of taking a shot with one horse or you're kind of buying this race, right? It's a single or spread, as they say. You either have a strong opinion or you'd have to use a bunch of them. From a daily double standpoint, I just start off betting one single double, 7-4 the way I'm going to try to get the card going. Let's go to that second race. We've got a better opinion on that one. Look, hey, you don't always have a great opinion on every race in the card, and that's why I say you don't bet the same amount on every race. You bet more on your strong opinions, less on the ones you like less, and nothing on the ones where you have no opinion at all. To the second we go, and this is one of my key plays of the day, race number 2. I like the 4 in here, Concrete Cruiser. This is a 1.16 maiden special weight going around 2 turns here for the 2-year-olds by Catalina Cruiser out of a Smart Strike mare. This horse has already had experience around 2 turns at Saratoga, a pseudo 2-turn race there, but those horses stretch out and run well here going the mile and the 16th. Blinkers on. I don't think there's any speed with the 1, the 2, or the 3. So I think the 4 Concrete Cruiser, adding blinkers with Tyler Gaffalione, can be ridden aggressively, go right to the front, save some ground. And so my key play of race number 2 here is going to be the 4 Concrete Cruiser. Kim Nelson also has that one on top. Nobody else with a lot of love. Tom's got Concrete Cruiser second. So 5-1 in the morning line feels like we might be able to keep that kind of price with nobody else kind of diving in on that runner, with a lot of conviction. So in a 9-horse field, 5-1 would be a great price. I go down to 7-2 though and feel pretty good. Joe Sharp with another winner today. We went with one of the Sharp horses who lost. He won with the one we didn't go with, but he remains hot right now. His barn's running well, so Concrete Cruiser might take a little more money based on that, the way the Joe Sharp trainees are running. The 1 Dual Income, a horse coming off a 1-turn mile at Churchill. We like those pseudo 1-turn races at Saratoga going the mile and 16th, and we've always liked the 1-turn miles at Churchill coming a mile and 16th here. Pretty good effort last time. I mean, well beaten, but Optical won that race by a city block by 14. Dual Income really didn't back out of it, held on gamely for third, and bested a field of 11, so still beat 8 horses home. Dual Income's got a shot in here underneath. I've got it 4, 1, 8, and 9. The 9, of course, being Major Dax, the horse that Scott's got on top. Major Dax is the 5-2 morning line favorite. Had a troubled start. Came along decently in the debut to run 4th in there. That was an open maiden special. This is one of these restricted maiden specials for horses who sold for $50,000 or less. Concrete Cruiser, by the way, sold for $50,000. The 9 Major Dax, who's in this race, is eligible because that one was a homebred for owner breeder Catherine Lurie. So that horse eligible being a homebred. A decent debut, but was 69-1 in the debut when running 4th at Churchill Downs. You're going from 69-1 in the debut to 5-2 morning line favorite. That's a lot to swallow with the 9 Major Dax. That's why I kept that one out of my top 3, but certainly with some respect. I think Concrete Cruiser has this race. Great post position, good jockey. Gaffalione, of course, riding well, always here at Keeneland, and Joe Sharp's barn going well. So one of my key plays of the day there, race number 2. We'll get going with that one. Third race on the card next up. No multi-race wagers starting here, but it will be second leg of the pick 4, third leg of the pick 5. If you're playing any of those early multi-race wagers, of course, rolling pick 3s start and roll throughout the card at Keeneland each and every day, as well as the rolling daily doubles. Maybe we take a double play with our top play in race number 2. We'll go with the 4 horse in there, of course, Concrete Cruiser. Who might we play a daily double with? I went with the 5, Bless the Broken. Now, 9-2 in the morning line. This horse had a massive win in the career debut at Evangeline Downs in Louisiana, won by 10 3/4 lengths. Now has not started since July, but they saved this horse and moved to Will Walden. This is a horse who shipped from Ricky Corville's barn in Louisiana. Cypress Creek Equine is the owner, was the owner in the career debut. This is not a horse who was sold and moved to a bigger barn. The barn just went from their Louisiana trainer, Ricky Corville, and putting this horse with Will Walden to run here at Keeneland. Big workouts at Turfway. This horse looks fast. I think the 5, Bless the Broken. Maybe one of these horses come out from Louisiana who's just really good. We've seen these horses win a race or two at Keeneland over the years. It's not often, but rarely do we get a horse who's kind of a standout from Louisiana, young horse like this, who comes north and runs. Brent Brinkley had a horse last year in Stakes Company. I can't remember her name coming up out of Louisiana. She won a sprint stakes here at Keeneland. Might be 2 years ago now. As I get older, sometimes they run together. But we will get a good horse up from Louisiana who can compete at this level, and we might see that with Bless the Broken. I really like that debut. Now this horse by Lauban out of a Tappet mare goes from a 4.5 furlong dirt sprint to a turf mile route. I'm expecting to see speed in here and just try to speed pop them from the break. We will see what jockey Ramon Vasquez does. 9-2 in the morning line. I wish we get a little bit bigger price than that, though, as we're trying turf, we're trying route, we're going from Evangeline Downs to Keeneland. So let's see what the price looks like. Hopefully that price might rise a little bit for us on our top pick in here. If the 5 doesn't offer, and this is why I didn't make this horse a key play of the day, because I like a lot about the horse, but this could be an underlay price based on that win margin, kind of exaggerating things where, the price gets bet down a little bit more than it should. I had 4 options in here that I thought were all good: 5, 6, 10, and 8. She's All Charmed, the 6, Mean Eileen, the 10. And I think the 8, who nobody's using much in here, As Catch Can, is a horse coming out of Colonial for Jonathan Thomas, an outstanding turf trainer who could be a factor in there. Vince Chaminade rides. We've seen him ride some turf winners at some decent prices here at Keeneland. So this is a race that's really interesting because there are 11 horses in race number 3, 11 horses whose maiden wins come from 9 different tracks. There are 9 different locations of their maiden wins. Horses won races at Horseshoe Indianapolis, Kentucky Downs, Hawthorne, Colonial, Belterra, Churchill, Kempton in England, Evangeline Downs, we've already talked about, and Ellis Park. So you've got 11 horses in here and non-winners of 2 allowance who won at 9 different venues last time. This is the Keeneland melting pot we talk about a lot. She's All Charmed, picked on top by 3 of the handicappers. I've got She's All Charmed second. Owen Hardy trains this Godolphin homebred, more than ready out of the Bernardini mare, Too Charming. Gets blinkers on coming out of the Untappable Stakes. Did debut a winner at Ellis Park. A little bit of a disappointment last time when getting in a little bit of traffic trouble when drawing the rail. Frankie Dettori rides for Godolphin. A lot to like there. I would have no argument with anybody making a good case for the 6. Mean Eileen, the 10, comes out of the Juvenile Filly Stakes at Kentucky Downs. She's a Joe Sharp trainee. We talked about Sharp. He could have a big first part of the card. We've got him picked early in the program in race number 2 with Concrete Cruiser. He could come right back with Mean Eileen and Tyler Gaffalione, the 10, the morning line favorite at 3-1. So 5, 6, 10, and even 8 you can consider in the multi-race wagers here in race number 3. But I'm going to take my shot with the Evangeline shipper coming up now, new to the Will Walden barn. We moved to race number 4 on this 10-race card, and because of the configuration of the wagers, there are no new bets starting in this race other than the rolling daily doubles and the rolling pick 3s. Race number 4 is a $25,000 mid-level 7-furlong sprint. We look at the handicapper selection grid to find out that Trust Daddy's one that's picked on top by Scott and myself. Cathedral Beach has got 2 top choices, Tom and Gabby. And Urban Legend is one that Kim Nelson is on the island, or I should say Wind of Change, the 4, is the one that Kim Nelson is on the island with. Some other folks have Wind of Change in the mix, including myself, but Kim's the only one with that runner on top. Let's talk about Trust Daddy, the 9, who's my top choice in here. I love the running style of this Kent Sweezy trainee. Tyler Gaffalione rides again. Gaffalione coming off a nice day with 3 wins on Wednesday, or Thursday, I should say. We'll see if he can roll on to the Friday card similarly. This is a horse who's won over the racetrack, but Trust Daddy stepping up in class. The 3 career wins, got through the non-winner of 2 condition in April, and then took to the 21st try last time out to get over the non-winner of 3 condition. But I like the running style. I like a horse with a win over the racetrack. This horse just likes to sit second or third, press and pounce. That's a pretty good running style for here at Keeneland. You don't want to be far off the pace. And going 7 furlongs, I don't think this horse is going to be tied up into any speed duels. And with post number 9 in a 9-horse field like this, really it's the whole track to work with the long run down the backstretch for Tyler Gaffalione to just stay out of trouble, pick a spot. And the way this horse's running style is, sitting second or third, you can just just see him being in the 2-path, coming off the far turn into the far turn, and having every chance to run his race. So it's Trust Daddy on top for me. The 3 Cathedral Beach, my second choice in here. This is a Chris Hartman trainee. This horse has changed hands a couple times. Hartman had this horse in June, claimed away from him, went to Tom Amos's barn. Amos ran the horse back for less than what the claiming price was when he claimed the horse. So Hartman just jumped right back in, claimed the horse right back, and now he's going to stay at the $25,000 level. Cathedral Beach last time was protected in a starter allowance. That's a good sign off the claim. Now they get back to what should be a winning type level for Cathedral Beach, and this is a horse with a win over the track here at Keeneland in one career start. So you got a couple horses who have won over the track here. Trust Daddy, Cathedral Beach. I think it's those two most to fear in this particular spot. The 4 Wind of Change for Robertino Diodoro, a horse who should fit fairly well at this level. He was claimed for 32 last November at Churchill. Had a little bit of success this spring at Oaklawn over a sloppy track, and should fit here around the 25,000 level. Would be no surprise to see the 4 Wind of Change somewhere in the mix, but I'm going to try to get through here with the 9 and the 3 as the 2 here. I think are most likely if you're paying multi-race wagers. Pick 4, pick 5 will stick to 2 deep in this particular spot. I do like Trust Daddy. This is a horse I considered putting on as one of my key plays of the day, but because of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 situation, I ended up going with race number 5 next up as one of my key plays of the day, because I think a single in the Turf Pick 5 is something you need to emphasize. It's hard to come up with singles in turf races at Keeneland. They're very competitive, but I think we have one in race number 5, even if the horse is the morning line favorite. It's the morning line favorite in the turf sprint at 7-2 odds, though, and I don't think going to be that short of a price. So let's talk about our key play here and look at the picks in race number 5, where I'm going with the 5 Urban Legend, also top pick in here for Tom Leach, and top pick for Kim Nelson, picked underneath by Gabby as well. We love those power posts, 3, 4, and 5. We've talked about it. We've seen it already come through this meet. When you get a full field turf sprint here at Keeneland, post 3, 4, and 5 have a great statistical edge, and at big prices tend to pop in. We saw a turf sprint earlier this meet where 2 horses out of those three posts came in 195 for $1 exacta. These horses tend to average 10, 12, 13 to 1 type prices when they pop. Urban Legend looks good from post 5. You're not going to get a big price in here, but when you give a good horse a little bit of an advantage in one of these power posts, I don't think they give it back that often. So Urban Legend for me, a horse coming out of a Saratoga second place finish in a turf sprint going 5.5. A good sprint trainer in Jose D'Angelo. Anybody who bets Gulfstream Park during the winter, during the championship meet, or year-round knows that Jose D'Angelo puts a lot of horses in the winner's circle, and he gets Irad Ortiz to ride here. He's just an exceptional turf sprint jockey. So Urban Legend, the 5, 7-2 in the morning line. Anything around 7-2, I'd go down to 5-2 and feel really good about this horse, even in the big field size. So this is one of my key plays of the day and the start of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. I think you single this runner. Now, if you're betting intra-race, certainly a win bet, 5-2, 3-1, 7-2. You'd be happy with that. But if you're looking intra-race as far as the other horses in here who could run in the exacta, I think the 3 Alcove one you want to consider, the 7 Glacial Power. I've got both of those two on the underneath side for me. So 5 over the 3, 7. Good race to look at tries and supers when you got a horse you like on top keyed and you've got a big field size to work underneath. Remember, losing tickets pay the winning ticket. That's the way pari-mutuel wagering works. The more horses in a race, the more losing tickets there will be on a lot of these combinations that don't come in, and then will help pay the winners. So a big field size is what you want if you're going to bet tries or superfectas. You get that in race number 5. When you have an opinion, you can just key that one on top and use several horses in the second and third spots and try to catch a price underneath. Like I said, Glacial Power, Alcove ones for me. If you look at the other handicappers, the 8 Pensacola gets a lot of or gets some attention in there from Gabby. Pensacola's only run once in the turf, and it was a poor effort. Interesting why she might have went with this horse, so I want to watch tomorrow on Today at Keeneland to get her reasoning why this long shot play Pensacola might be one for her. Trainer Doug Cowan's there. He's got next the big marathon turfer. We'll see if he can get one to sprint on the turf in Pensacola. Gabby's got that one in there. Might be a good one to consider. Listen to her to make her case on that one. Maybe we consider using that one underneath for the tries and supers. But I'm all in on Urban Legend here in race number 5 as a key play of the day. This is one of my more confident picks, I think, so far as we get to day 6 in the meet. There have been a lot of races where I've been wishy-washy. I'm not on this one. I think Urban Legend wins here. And you don't win handily in a turf sprint. You might have to win and sweat out a half-length victory, but a win's a win in a turf sprint. I think that one looks solid. Start the pick 6 there. Keeneland turf pick 3. Race number 5, take the 5, Urban Legend. We move on now to race number 6. The late pick 5 starts here. Races 6 through 10 on the card. Heavy favorite in this particular spot. It's Brendan Walsh. It's Tyler Gaffalione. They team to win 2 on the card today. Gaffalione won 3 overall, as we've mentioned a few times. So fancy the 2 is going to be a heavy favorite in here. Even money on Nick Tamaro's morning line. Some of these really low morning line horses have drifted up in price and haven't been as hammer-headed chalks as maybe they appear in the program. But I think this one is a legit even money type horse. Coming out of the Groupie Doll Stakes last time out, she's a daughter of Justify. Second beat in the neck in the Groupie Doll. Now she's in a second level allowance. She's got really good form. She's won 2 of her last 4. She's 4 out of 5 in the exacta in her last 5 starts. And if you look at the other horses in what is just a 6-horse field, I don't see a lot of other great options in here. This looks like Fancy's race to win or lose, and she's by Justify. We'll see how she runs over the first time here over the track at Keeneland. But there's not a lot of horse for course in this race either. Lexa Street Racer ran off the board in their starts here at Keeneland. Inventing the 3 does have a win over the track here at Keeneland, but that was going long. Was going long, but that was last year. This horse has not run since last November. Mike Stidham brings one off a long layoff. Maybe not his best move. He's not one of those trainers that you see do a lot of strength off of the layoff. So we'll see what Inventing has first start of the calendar year. How about the other handicappers here? What are we looking at in race number 6? Why am I the only person picking Fancy at even money? I've actually looked at this chart and it didn't dawn on me until right now. And everybody's trying to beat him or beat her, I should say. With Enclosure is one of the top picks in here. With the other handicappers, the 1. Everybody's got Fancy second. So maybe this is one of those situations where they say even money and they're holding their nose and saying, okay, I can't take this horse at even money. All right. I can justify that. And I've done sort of those handicapping things before. Enclosure is the top pick by some of the other players, though. This is a horse who has won 2 of the last 3. And Enclosure for trainer Bill Motts by Arrowgate. A bad effort last time out in the slop, but we're not going to get a sloppy track. So back on a fast track, you want to make the case that Enclosure's the top play in here. I think that case can be made. I've got Enclosure pick second. It's 2-1-1-2, right? Nobody's getting too much more creative than that. Although Scott is in on the 4 in here. Lexa, a horse who's got a couple starts that were off the board here in 2 races at Keeneland. But to me, it should run through the 2 and the 1 in this particular spot. I don't see it as a great betting race, intra race, obviously, with 2 short prices in there. I do have a horse I like at a price, though, in race number 7, who's 12-1 in flip-flops. We'll talk about that runner in a second. So here's the situation. You've got race number 6 with a 6-horse field and 2 short prices, right? The 2 and the 1 are going to be bet in this race. Everything else will be bigger prices. But you're not going to get much in an exacta with 2-1 or 1-2, especially in a 6-horse field. But if you look at the next race on the card, we've got a bigger field to deal with in race number 7. Flipping through my past performances here as they stick together. But yeah, we've got almost a capacity field of 11. So when you look at a daily double in this from race 6 to race 7, there's 11 different ways the daily double can come in if you use one of your top picks, right? You got 11 in the next race. If you take this exacta, it almost looks like one combination exacta, 2/1. Even if you had all the horses in the race as a contender for the exacta, it's only 5 horses that can run second. So you're just not going to get much of a return when you like a short price horse in a short field like that. You've got to look at the next race or the race before to see if you could get a daily double, pick 3, that sort of bet in and out of a short price. So if you're going to use Fancy in race number 6, kickoff leg of the pick 5, maybe you just single to start the pick 5 and move on from there. But I think a daily double is not a bad bet in here because it's one of my key plays of the day coming up in race number 7. So let's talk about our 7th race and our picks for that one. 7th is our 3rd and final key play on the card. We've got key plays in races 5 and 7 and a very short price coming up probably in race number 6. So a pick 3 on races 5, 6, and 7 looks obviously like something you'd want to do. A daily double from races 6 to 7. And of course, we're going to start the late pick 4 and we wrap up the Keeneland Turf pick 3 with a key play in here as well. Now, I don't think this is a single per se when you look at the multi-race wagers, but this is a price horse I like. It's my best price horse on the card. Number 9, Flip Flops, going to be top choice in here for me. Trainer Mark Cassidy does a great job here with the 2-year-olds going long on the turf, 2-year-olds going long on the dirt. This time of year, Cassidy does as good or better than any trainer with horses this time of year in the 2-year-old ranks going long, especially on the grass. So I would expect that, and with the fillies too. He's had just so many good 2-year-old turf fillies here over the years in the fall. Flip Flops didn't run well in the juvenile filly stakes last time, but prior to that, look, this horse ran good here third in the spring meet in one of the few baby race turf races. A good Ellis Park mile win. Luan Machado back riding. He rode the horse to victory at Ellis Park. I like this one by War of Will, who had success here at Keeneland on the turf. Grade 1 winner over this turf course, trained by Cassie. So he knows the family. He's got Flip Flops in here, 12-1 in the morning line. Going to be one of my key plays of the day because of the price. This is my best long shot on the card, and we are on the island. Nobody else is putting on their Flip Flops for the October 11th card. I'll wear Flip Flops proudly, though. 12-1. We're going to go after that one. Number 10, Raining Flowers, should definitely be respected. Coming off a third last out in the PG Johnson Stakes behind Totally Justified. That runner came back here and ran a really good race. Probably too good to lose, but just getting nipped in the stakes race here earlier in the meet. I believe the Jessamine Stakes, Totally Justified. So Raining Flowers comes out of a good race. Respect that one. Johnny V riding the 5-2 morning line favorite. The 3, Sweet Treasure, a Brad Cox trainee who won first asking at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Don't sleep on the Brad Cox horses who come from Horseshoe Indianapolis, especially the ones who ran a distance race at Horseshoe Indy. Cox sends a lot of his good horses there to Horseshoe Indy because they're made to run 2 turns, and he doesn't want to sprint them. It's not that they can't compete on the A level with his horses, say, at Ellis or Saratoga in the summer. He is trying to get those horses 2-turn experience a lot of times when he runs young horses starting their career at Horseshoe Indianapolis. That's what Sweet Treasure did, went wire to wire, going 7.5 around 2 turns on the turf. So I would not be surprised if Sweet Treasure is a pretty decent runner here. 9, 10, and 3 the way I see this race. And again, we've got a nice price play. So win bet on the 9 for sure. We play some exacta boxes, 9, 10. 9-3, and if we could get the 9 first or second, I feel pretty good about this. Sweet Treasure, top pick in there for Kim and Tom. Into the fray and fine finish. 2 other horses that get some love in here from Scott and Gabby. So a good betting race. Nobody else has the horse I like at 12-1. That means we'll probably hold our price and get a fair number. Give me Luan Machado aboard Flip Flops for Mark Cassidy. Long shot play of the day, race number 7. Hopefully we can get that one to pop in. To the 8th race, nothing starting in this one, but it will be the final pick 3 on the card, races 8, 9, and 10. Also, if you got a horse you like in the Sycamore Stakes in race number 9, maybe you can consider one of those low takeout daily doubles that start here in race number 8 into the 9th. 8th race, pretty tough competitive group in here, I thought, and everybody wound up with T. Craft. T. Craft for trainer Bill Mott. This is the horse who ran 4th last time out at Saratoga, going a mile. Cuts back in distance. 2 starts back, though, ran 2nd to Chancer McPatrick. Chancer McPatrick has gone on to win the Hopeful and the Champagne for Chad Brown and will be one of the favorites, if not the favorite, for the Breeders' Cup Juveniles. So T. Craft comes out of a good race, but this is a horse who had 3 chances to break the maiden. 6 furlong maiden special here. First-time starters, you would think, are going to get some attention as well. But T. Craft, with all 5 handicappers, I believe it's the 2nd or 3rd time this meet, where in 6 days where we've all had the same horse. Patch Adams, everybody's 2nd choice in here. Nick's Glory, a lot of 3rd choices in here. So 2-4-1. I thought this was kind of a fun, competitive 2-year-old maiden special, but it looks like we're all kind of seeing it the same way. Bullet workouts for the Into Mischief colt, Patch Adams. First-time starter for Cox. Florent Giroux rides. They've had a very good meet. Cox had another winner today. Would not be surprised if Patch Adams is a runner right out of the blocks. The one, Nick's Glory for Ben Colbrick and the Korean Racing Authority. They've had some nice horses over the years. Nick's Go to be, at the head of that list. Colbrick won with Nick's Go at 70-1 here at Keeneland back when he was a 2-year-old. And of course, that horse later would go to Brad Cox and win all the big races around the country. But Nick's Glory, no relation to Nick's Go, but a horse who, for these connections, have had success here at Keeneland. And I wouldn't be surprised with the Bullet workout in tow if the one Nick's Glory can run a little bit. But T. Craft, the top pick in here in race number 8 for all of us. We're going to have to watch the tote board and see where or if there's any value. 4-1 in the morning line on T. Craft, 5-2 on Patch Adams. I don't know. If we get 4-1, we're all going to be happy. 5 people sitting around with a $10 horse, but it doesn't look like that's probably what's going to happen. So we will have to wait and see. We'll follow the tote board in that one and move on to race number 9, the Sycamore Stakes, grade 3 company here. 1.5 miles on the turf. We've got a big field to look at in these turf marathoners. A field of 11, in fact. Bold Act on the outside is the morning line favorite at 3-1. Bold Act was beaten favorite here in the spring in the Elkhorn Stakes with Frankie Dettori aboard that day. Luis Saez now takes over for Charlie Appleby. As for Frankie Dettori, he will be on number 2, Cathkin Peak, in the main event. Now, Tom Leach earlier this week caught up with trainer Brian Lynch, who will send out Highway Robber. As we look at the field for the Sycamore Stakes, Highway Robber in this race will be number 3. He's coming out of the Kentucky Downs Turf Cup. Finished a good second in that race, and prior to that was a winner going 1.25 miles on the turf at Ellis Park. It'll be the first time over the track at Keeneland for Highway Robber. Let's see what the trainer Lynch had to say earlier this week with Tom Lynch.
Lynch has got Highway Robber in the grade 3 Sycamore. Tell me about the last couple of races. Seems like maybe he's improved a tick or two.
Yeah, he certainly has. We sort of gave him the winner off last year, hoping he'd develop into a nicer 4-year-old, and he certainly has for us. So we've been thrilled with the way he's gone this year. You know, unlucky the other day, I think. He was out the back door, gave himself quite a bit of work to do, only to be beaten half a length. So very, very credible effort. Look forward to the Sycamore because he's trained as good as a horse could train coming into it.
Why does that distance fit him well?
He just seems to have enjoyed that marathon distance, and you know, not a lot of them do. So when you get one that wants to run that far, it's always a big help.
Like this turf course?
I don't think we've run him on this turf course, to be honest. So it'll be very interesting. But I don't make excuses for him. I think he's one of them horses he'll run on any sort of ground.
Is he the kind of horse that's easy for the jock to put in and out of spots?
Yeah, he is. He's a lovely horse to ride. Very rateable. Actually, sometimes he can get a little bit too lax, so we've seen that in his last race. So let's hope he laying a little bit closer this time and not give himself too much work to do.
Does that help him as far as the 1.5 miles?
Yeah. I think he just needs to be a little bit closer than he was the other day.
How's he trained up to this?
Unbelievable. So we're thrilled he had his last work the other day leading up to it. It was a lovely piece of work. So all systems go.
Thanks to Brian Lynch, Tom Leach for that interview. And Highway Robber, 3 in here, is a horse who gets a lot of respect from Mr. Leach. He's got him picked on top for the stakes race on Friday, the Sycamore Stakes. Highway Robber, top choice also for Gabby Gaudet in this particular spot. Second choice for Kim Nelson. So a lot of love in here for Highway Robber. I went to the 10 Ohana Honor, a horse who was 1.5 miles romping winner here in the spring meet in a Lowndes Company. Went wire to wire by 5 3/4. Hasn't won in 3 starts since, but ran in the Man of War, the Manhattan, the Bowling Green, all grade 1, grade 2 races in New York for trainer Shug McGahee. This is obviously a 1.5 mile pedigree. The grandsire and the dam sire are AP Indy and Awesome Again. That's about as route on route as you get in North American racing. So I like Ohana Honor over the 1.5 miles. And again, a big win here over the course. When you talk course winners here at Keeneland, you got to talk about the Elkhorn winner, Verstappen, the one horse who, won this Elkhorn Stakes, the kind of sister race, if you will, to the Sycamore in the spring meet. And certainly Verstappen would be no surprise in here, but a horse that shows the depth of this race, that Verstappen only gets one top 3 call for many of the handicappers. Picked second in here behind Ohana Honor for Scott Hazelton. Tawny Port, I've got picked third. That's Kim Nelson's top choice in here. Tawny Port's a veteran. We've seen this horse at Keeneland on the dirt, on the turf, and has made $1.3 million and just never runs a bad race. Fifth in this race last year in the Sycamore when beaten 2 3/4 lengths. The winner of the Sycamore, of course, was Bold Act, who is back this year. But again, he was the beaten favorite in his return race in the spring in the Elkhorn. Will Bold Act bounce back? I think he's got a shot. 10-11-7, the way I see it, in the Sycamore Stakes. As far as Ohana Honor, the price on that one, 7-2 in the morning line. Bold Act, as I mentioned, the 3-1 morning line favorite. Final leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 in this particular spot. I'd go too deep. There are other options in here, but I think if you get to Tawny Port, the Highway Robber, some of these other, you're 4, 5, 6 deep to try to be comfortable. I really like Ohana Honor and Bold Act as the top two in this particular spot. So from a Keeneland Turf Pick 3 standpoint, we love Urban Legend in race number 5, right? Urban Legend, the 5 and the 5, we're going to single. In the middle leg, we like flip-flops a lot, but there are a couple other options if you want to mix and spruce in the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. But certainly for me, more combinations with flip-flops. And then I would use no more than 2, Ohana Honor on more tickets, and then Bold Act on fewer tickets, 10 and 11. When I get to my Keeneland Turf Pick 3 construction. To the 10th and final we go on the Friday preview, Turf Pick 3. There should not be a Turf Pick 3 on there. That's an error on the graphic. No Turf Pick 3 to the 10th and final. It is the Toyota Super High 5 race, though. Toyota Super High 5 carryover, $5,112. We're going to wrap it up here in the final race on the card, going 7 furlongs, maiden claimers in this one. On the main track, these are 3-year-olds and up. And look, this is not a very deep and strong kind of race, so I'm eliminating variables. I've got inside rail speed with number 1 Cruise Missile. Brian Hernandez likes to ride the fence. I just think they're going to pop and go, and we're going to see how far Cruise Missile can take him on a class drop for trainer Kenny McPeak. We expect McPeak to win a couple races this week on week 2 of the Keeneland Fall Meet. He's had some success in the second week of Fall Meets each of the past 3 years. Cruise Missile also top pick in here for Scott. Also eligible, I think you want to keep an eye on Aerosal in here for Chad Brown. Class drop here. This horse has been running turf and on some off tracks at Saratoga. Has run some decent races that would put him right in the mix here, or she has. She's a 4-year-old filly. Bred for the turf. This will be the first time they meant to run her on the dirt if she gets in. But she had a couple off the turf races at Saratoga back in 23 that were good enough to be very, very competitive, if not win this race. Cruise Missile on top for me. Aerosal definitely has to be considered from the also eligible list if that one draws in. Aberdeen's a horse who always seems to get a piece of it but doesn't win. 0 for 10 with 7 second or third place finishes. Not one I would put on top in any sort of wagers. 1 and 13 the way I would look at this on the win end. Number 3, Effervescent for Jordan Blair, a horse you might consider if you're playing multi-race wagers. Pick 4, pick 5. Top choice in here for Gabby and Kim. And this would be my third choice in the race if the 13 doesn't draw into the field. So 1, 3, 11, and then 3 for me. But I would not put 11 Lady Aberdeen on top in the multi-race wagers. So if I'm playing pick 4s or pick 5s, I'm skipping that runner and going to the 3 as a better contender for me. We'll have to see how the tote plays out here. Cruise Missile 7-2 in the morning line, but the 13 is 3-1 in the morning line. If that horse doesn't draw in, then the odds all shift around here, obviously. But Cruise Missile speed inside, I'll just try to get away with it in the 10th and final in a race where I don't have any real strong type of convictions. That's a wrap for the 10 races on Friday, October 11th. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. We'll be back on Friday night to look at the Saturday card. Saturday's main event, of course, the Grade 1 Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. Some top 3-year-olds from Ireland, France, Canada, and of course, coast to coast here in the United States will match up in that one. So can't wait to preview that card for you. But hopefully we're doing it with a smile on our face after a big winning Friday at Keeneland. Again, Toyota Pick 5 or Toyota Super High 5 carryover in the final race, about $5,112 for the 10th and final coming up on Friday. Have a great day, everybody. Be sure to check out Scott and Gabby's preview on Keeneland today, each race day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And follow me on Substack. I'll put a promo up here for you where you can find me on Substack and get all my latest handicapping information for each race day emailed right to your email inbox. After the scratches come out around 10:30 or so, I reassess the picks based on the scratches, any changes we have to make, and then send out that updated information to you on Substack. I also update the handicappers consensus box at Keeneland.com because that's what they use for the TV pick. So after scratches, we get you updated there. But you also get information from me on Substack for different tracks around the country. And once Keeneland is done, you'll be able to pick up some great information towards the Breeders' Cup there as well. So sign up for the Substack today, and we will keep you up to date. Have a great night, everybody, and we will talk to you Friday.